Okay, good morning. September 27th, 2020. Finally had some success last night, and that was good to see. This is what is the website here? Look for it on there. You'll see a Duluth Canal Cam. I'm just showing what I'm seeing. And I know a lot of people meditate, and you can. There's nothing wrong with that. I tend to, for me personally, I tend to talk things out in the car when I commute Monday to Friday. And that's what, keeps me somewhat sane in some unsane times, I guess. But, last night in trains, I was able to reach a bit of a milestone and move on and progress. And it challenges me, keeps me going. By the way, I'm going to be feeding my face here. I don't know if I changed my description. I probably didn't. Oh, well. That's okay. Maybe I'll change my description real quick. Which I didn't. Oh, I did. While feeding my face. Very good. Because that's exactly what I'm doing. Feeding my face. I was just going to sit here and, I was going through my emails, and I got a friend who's really pissed off about local politics and stuff like that. Now he has a mobility issue, so they've been cutting transit service, doing all kinds of crazy things. But the majority of people are afraid to ride the transit right now. The majority of people are home. So they don't care about that. They unfortunately, those that need the transit are a minority right now. Because they're the elderly who usually has care, or they're the ones who are disabled or on disability, who also usually has a support, but not always. And if you know somebody who's disabled, I mean I do. I live in a St. Catharines. He lives in Welland, so I feel I feel bad, but the only thing I can do is try to get him some advice as to what's happening and how to cope with it. And getting mad and negative, yes, you have to be aware. You have to be aware of what's going on. I was in discussions earlier this week that I was trying to awaken a certain amount of masses my own way. First I kind of went on to this whole COVID-19 thread, which basically somebody was talking about their experience of having COVID-19. But what happened was there was posts in there telling, if you don't wear a mask, you're stupid, and all this other shit. Now, somebody told me, well, if you don't agree with the posts or whatever, you can report them to a moderator. I'm not going to do that. Now, I did reply to one, but eventually I told him, I says, why don't you just delete this thread? And it's not the COVID-19 thread. That's still on. Because somebody insisted that they had to tell their experience. Why did my COVID-19 thread get disappeared? Or why did it disappear? And all this other stuff. Because I need to tell people, and I need to inform people. It's okay for them to inform their experience, but if you have a counter experience, suddenly it is considered political. Suddenly it's considered against the narrative or whatever. And all I did was I posted a message about how it was a very simple message, and I wasn't arguing that this was the only reason why people are getting sick. I just basically posted a message about how you can get sick from fear. Fear's not a good thing. I'm not saying that you can't have your survival instincts on. You need to have your survival instincts. I can tell you right now, I am preparing. Do I sound like I'm scared? Trust me. I'm telling you right now, as I look at this beautiful sunset on this beautiful planet, it's going to get worse. If you don't think it's going to get worse, then it's not a matter of paying attention to the news, it's paying attention to the spin. I can watch very small bits of the news that mock it. Those are your best things to do. Find this information out there that basically digs into the media and the lies. And just try to keep an open mind. Try to understand that there are some people out there that are going to push certain conspiracy theories. But the government also pushes conspiracy theories. Okay. So, pardon me. Gotta eat breakfast. I can't help it. Like the halo around the sun. It's kind of neat. I've got... my son's sleeping upstairs. Normally I'd be trying to figure out ways of how to get my damn route to work. But I've done all the processing for it, and it seems fine. Okay, Port Robinson. I'm not supposed to show that. I don't know what I'm not supposed to show. So I'm just using this as a background to talk. This is as I said, this is Duluth Canal Camp. There's tons of... If you need... if you're inside and you need to think about things and just calm down, find beauty in this. Find some beautiful things. There's web cameras out there of bears in Alaska, wildlife, all kinds of things. I always enjoy a good sunrise. I live near a canal, obviously. You've seen that in the Niagara route if you've followed me with that. And you need to you need to reaffirm that life is still a beautiful thing. Now, would I be lying to say that there's a threat to humanity right now? There absolutely is, and it's not COVID-19. There's bigger threats that are out there. Because, first of all, I don't know the future. The future hasn't been written. I can tell you what their plans are. And I can go into how they want to reduce the population of the planet by 90%. But see, right away you're going to say, well, yeah, you're a conspiracy theorist. And that's okay then. If you don't want to believe that, don't. That's okay. Do I believe that's their plan? Probably. I'm like thinking, well, that's a stupid idea. Why would they want to reduce the population? It's simple. Money. Resources. We don't need as many people to do the jobs anymore. Industrial Revolution was different. They got automation. They don't need us. The rich keep getting richer, the poor keeps getting poorer. How do the rich keep getting richer? Automation. Automation, streamlining, controlling cost, investing more in what they've got. And another thing is cheap money from their counterfeit agencies called Central Reserve Banks, who artificially keep interest rates low, so the little guys, or the middle class, whatever, lower class, middle class, you name it, they can't save their money in banks, so they have to play around in a stock market that they know ahead of time when it's going to go. They know. And it'll go again. This little mini crash that they had not too long ago when COVID really started breaking out, that's nothing. They've almost recouped all that. And you tell me how the economy and the stock market makes any sense. It doesn't. There's no relation. Absolutely no relation. I have a bit of allergies this morning. Had a little bit of congestion. I remember when I was in, I lived a little bit more in fear. Now, mind you, most of my life I haven't. But there have been times earlier when you're naive and you don't see these things for what they are and understand the dangers. Having certain jobs that you have to go to that you can't help because you need to pay the bills. A lot of people are in that. They just can't help it. So you got to find ways to make your free time as powerful as you can. Now, fortunately for me, I like my job. Would I do it for free? No. Absolutely not. But I like my job. It's not that stressful. I just do my thing and away I go. So people get hung up and they start reading up about the various politics, and some people are heavily invested in what's happening in their city because local politics are supposed to be free from all this stuff, and normally they are, but these rules are starting to get thrown out because the money's starting to come down. They are affecting every single community that they can right now. And you're starting to see it. The money is flowing a certain way, but it's not flowing into the people's pockets. It's flowing into the pockets of those that are being bribed. So that's why. Okay, so you reduce the services for these transits where people need them. To present this is the asinine behavior. Okay, I go into a superstore over here in Canada. They're starting to remove the dots on the floor. People don't social distance, but you have to wear a stupid mask. You have to wear a stupid mask, and all these idiots wearing masks thinks they're protected, so they go closer. That's like me saying, if this is so-called protection, which it's not, and if social distancing is protection, which it's not, you have a risk of getting stuff no matter what. Your body's going to fight it off. If you're lucky enough to be out here in Duluth, Minnesota, and you're getting a little bit, right now you're not getting too many UV rays at a sunrise like this, but if you're lucky enough to be outside and catching, I was outside yesterday in the sun. It was great. Gonna do it today. Do some more research in Niagara. Get my grade profiles. Apply it. Gonna work on water levels this morning. If my son doesn't wake up soon. But that's okay. He can sleep. I hear the bridge going up. The lift bridge. So what happens is at every 30 minutes, the lift bridge, which is directly behind it, lifts up. I'm pretty sure that's what I heard. So they let a bunch of pleasure craft out. So you'll start seeing them come out. And they all come out at this time of day too. They'll go fishing or start their day. They seem to go outbound as opposed to going inbound because they're starting their day and going out on the lake. It's beautiful. Beautiful day on this side of Lake Superior. I'm way on the other side of the Great Lakes, but anyways, enough of the geography. I wish our area has better webcams. The only thing they have is Niagara Falls, and I've seen Niagara Falls enough times in my life, and saw it in person once this year, but yeah, you gotta get your mind off the crap. If you can protest, and if you can organize and protest, number one, you're risking being arrested, maced, assaulted, whatever. You're risking that. But at some point, you got to be brave and say, okay, is it worth the risk? There's so many risks in life. There's risks of getting COVID. There's risks of getting cancer. There's risks of getting all kinds of things. And I've already gone through as far as the so-called science that even the CDC and the World Health Organization accurately said at the beginning of this pandemic, so-called pandemic, plandemic, whatever. And I know it's a real thing. I know people get sick. Check out the hospitals right now. Check out the hospitals and check out the wait times. Nobody's going to the hospitals. Nobody's in the emergency rooms. I noticed that almost shortly after, and in fact, I noticed that almost immediately, that the emergency rooms were just they were just dying down. People weren't around. People weren't out. People weren't getting in car accidents because there was less traffic. But people weren't going because they thought they had COVID. If they thought they had COVID or whatever, they were told to stay home. And then, what are the actual hospital bed usage right now? You can find those figures, and you will see that they accurately tell you what the hospital bed figures are. And they're nowhere near what they were when this outbreak first hit. The death rates, nowhere near. Is it bumping up a little bit? Yeah. It's getting cold this time of year. It's September 27th today. It's starting to get cooler. It's starting to get more cold fronts going through. The fall weather's coming in. That changes the immune system. If you have a weaker immune system. The elderly has a weaker immune system. What else takes away your immune system? Fear. And what have they been plugging all summer? Second wave, second wave, second wave, second wave. I don't even have to watch the news to know it, because I unfortunately I get little bits here and there, like Tony Robbins said. You don't need to watch the news. If it gets bad enough, somebody will tell you. And it's true. I overhear at conversations in supermarkets. It's all fear, 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 fear. Nobody. It's not COVID-19 people have to fear. It's what's coming after that. But guess what? I ain't gonna live in fear. We're all gonna die when we die, okay? And I choose to live life. And I'll choose to fight for it and do whatever. If it means telling the truth, being mocked for it on websites and whatever. I eventually just told him. I told the moderators. I says, I posted in the threads. I says, why don't you just delete this thread? And these were threads that I started. These weren't the ones that I quote unquote hijacked, because the thread was getting out of control as it was. Now, I don't even know what they're saying on this thread. I'm sure there's a bunch of, feel bad for the guy who's got COVID and all this other stuff. People get sick, okay? There's a lot of other things besides COVID-19. We're going to start posting about messages. I got the flu. I have cancer. I have this, and then watching all you're not going to get the play that COVID-19. Everybody wants to find out about this COVID-19. Ooh, what's it all about? You want to find out about the COVID-19? Go down the rabbit holes. Don't be told by the media, your friends, or whoever else, that everything's a conspiracy theory. The media does a lot of conspiracy theories, and honestly, one of the biggest conspiracy is this whole distance, this social distancing thing. That's a conspiracy theory. There's no fact behind it. You know what that's all about? It's all about a lab report, or I think a bus in China or something like that, where there was an account of somebody who supposedly got it who was so many so many feet away, and then they talk about the contact, stuff on the stuff that's basically on a surface is going, it could last up to 14 days or so. I don't know what the hell it is. All kinds of garbage. Just because something can travel or something, like, where's the full detail of these pictures? Okay, first of all, let's go with those pictures. Let's go with those pictures. First of all, if there is if there is a COVID, what was the load? The load is something that a lot of people don't talk about. The load value. Now they say masks reduce the load. The only thing that masks reduce is the water. It doesn't reduce mist or viruses, airborne viruses. It gets the thicker particulates. So if you sneeze, it's going to catch the majority of it. The rest is going to escape in a load. And it escapes less because of the mask, but then guess what happens? If you got COVID-19 and you're wearing a friggin' mask, you're reintroducing what your body is trying to expel into your system. That's called a muzzle. That's called putting something on that can harm you. If you're sick, you shouldn't be, you should be wearing a mask if you're trying to go out in public, but you shouldn't be wearing one all the time. In fact, nobody should be wearing one all the time. You say, well, dentists and all that. Dentists don't wear them all the time. They take them off. They wear them for a selected amount of time, do whatever they have to do. They take them off. They get time. They get time to breathe, time to cool down, have a drink, gets fluids in their system. They're usually in an air-conditioned building, so it's a lot cooler. I see these people riding bikes and running out with masks. I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. When you sneeze, when your body sneezes, when your body coughs, it's trying to get the stuff out of the system. Now, yes, it's true. If somebody's sneezing, that could certainly be a load that winds up on you or winds up on a surface. So, yeah, it's possible. So you do the sanitary things like washing your hands after you've touched public things. This is, if anything, this kind of reinforced some of the things that you should be doing anyways. But at the same time, your body's going to break down a lot of that shit. If your immune system's strong, and you're not living in fear, and you're feeling good, you're not going to. I don't get sick. Some people have weaker immune systems. I get it. I don't get sick. I haven't missed a day of work because of sickness in probably a decade. Okay? Now, could I get COVID-19? You're damn right I could. So what? A lot of these tests are inaccurate. But anyways, I got in this whole thing about COVID-19. So let's go a little bit back on to what I was saying about the politicians and these local things going on. So they're cutting because of all these supposed things that they say are these conspiracy theories. These are the conspiracy theories. There's no fact behind it. Just because it happens in a lab, that's all of a sudden fact. A lab's a lab. What happens... There's the bridge going back down, I think. You can hear it now. What happens in a lab, okay, is lab conditions. That sun right there in Duluth, Minnesota, in the upper right-hand corner, although it's not strong right now, in the middle of the day, if somebody sneezed or spit on the sidewalk or whatever the hell it is, the UV radiation is going to annihilate it. It's going to annihilate the air molecules. Even when it's cloudy, you still get UV radiation that penetrates the clouds. You don't see it. It's ultraviolet. It still penetrates clouds. It's not as strong because some of the clouds is blocking it. But it's still, you have UV rating, and we had some strong UV ratings this summer. And yet people were told to stay indoors. And people in Australia, New Zealand, and all this other stuff. But anyways, going back to the local levels. So this whole transportation thing, where they're cutting, the only thing that people care about, as far as politicians, I mean, and leaders, they care about two things. They care about one, they care about votes, and they care about money. Once you come to that realization and you apply that to everything that you see, it makes sense. So, they reduce, because of these conspiracy theories, they reduce capacity on buses. They start having these limited schedules. They have borders closed or whatever, and all this other nonsense. And I haven't been to the United. I've missed going to the United States this year. I remember how much fear I had at the beginning of this, where I didn't want to go into the United States on my vacation. I remember, because this thing was coming, and I didn't know what it was. What it was. It didn't feel right, but I didn't know what it was. Didn't have the data. Didn't have different opinions. You go to a doctor for a second opinion, do you not? If it's something that could be somewhat detrimental or dangerous or whatever, a lot of people get second opinions. Why do they get second opinions for? Because it's consensus? Because all doctors agree? Hell no. Doctors make the best judgments they can out of the data they know, or the experience they have. One doctor will prescribe you this, while other doctors may not prescribe you this and recommend this. It happens all the time. I had sleep disorders at the beginning of the year. I've seen what my son went through, where one doctor had this, diagnosed him with this. Another doctor said, no, it's this, it's that. And it's just like, it's always something different. Oh, but the diagnosis changed. No, the diagnosis didn't change. The doctor changed. That's what happened. All of a sudden, another doctor came and, said it was this. And, oh, yeah, it's got to be this. And then the other doctor, who was less experienced or whatever, decided to just take it, and it's just like, okay, well, they must be experienced and know what they're talking about, so, yeah. And they're smart, and they have certain degrees, and, yeah, okay. Automatically. You have these second opinions because not everybody, even in the same fields, see different data. There's some that are awake enough to realize that some of the data is manipulated, that some of the data comes from countries counties, cities that measure things very differently. How do they get the numbers of COVID? That changes depending upon the community. Sometimes it's the province, sometimes it's the municipality, and sometimes it's the region. Sometimes it's just the health department, whatever the case may be. The way they track numbers change from place to place. So, getting back to this whole what's a conspiracy theory and what's not, you take that data into consideration, go back to the money, go back to the votes. People are fed down their throats, about literally down their throats and up their nose, the fear of the second wave. That the second wave's coming. Yeah, there's going to be a second wave coming. But it's going to be breakouts, it's going to be all kinds of things. It's going to be a bunch of lockdowns, it's going to be overreactions. You watch. We're already seeing numbers coming and going up in our area a little bit. And the fear porn is off to the races again. So they reduce services in the name of COVID. They reduce, and then they start having reductions in how many people can meet, despite the fact that they have all these mandatory mask wearing. So if the masks work, why did they have to reduce the numbers? And then why does places like a supermarket where I go to, they don't social distance and nobody enforces it, and they take away the little circles where you have to step on and all this other stuff? Why did they do that? Why don't they enforce that? I'm like, why do I have to wear a mask going in a store while other people don't have to social distance? And I'm to the point right now where I'm getting tired of wearing masks in the stores. There's some places where I don't wear masks. I just go in and out. I don't give a shit. Somebody says something, oh, I guess I forgot about it. It's in my car. Are they going to kick me out? If they do, I'm going to say, well, I got to go all the way down here. I'll only be a few seconds. I'm already here spreading my germs. Can't I just get in and out? You got this little plastic barricade, so you're not going to get sick or whatever. It's stupid. Went to a Dairy Queen yesterday. I don't know about the States, but Canada doesn't have as many outdoor Dairy Queens yesterday. I specifically went to that Dairy Queen because I didn't have to go inside. I was like, yep, this is cool. Drive-thrus, that's the other thing. And I haven't gone through drive-thrus because of so much of the fear of all this crap. I've gone through drive-thrus because I don't want to be putting a mask on. I wear a mask no more than, I would say, 15 minutes in a day, if that. I'm not going to wear a mask any more than that. And if politicians start pushing it too far, I'm just going to object to doing it. It's called civil disobedience. Trust me, it works. And there's places that will protect you. There's places that will cover legal fees, all kinds of things if they try to come after you. Depends on where you are. Look it up. Look for the civil liberties unions. They're one outfit that does have some power that is going to fight this crap. But they can only do that if you use it and get together. There's more strength in numbers. That's why you pull resources and you go after these clowns. But again, all about money. It's all about money and power. If most people are in fear and most people are expecting something, then that's what they see. Those people that are not social distancing, they don't care. They're either awake or they're, I don't know if they got a mask. I can't tell. I couldn't get, don't care. Okay, they could be a family, whatever. Most places, COVID spreads through the family too. That's where a lot of the spreading takes place. One person gets infected, whoop. If you're stuck at home with your family and you can't get out, well, guess what? Who do you think's going to get it? Oh, that's okay. You can get, don't worry about grandma who lives downstairs. Guess what? She's gonna get hit the hardest. If you're near a grandparent, I'm saying. I know some people live with their grandparents and older people, or a lot of people are a lot of young adults. I lived to the age. I was up to the age of 27 before I moved out, and the only reason why I moved out was, and this was back in, we're talking 20 years ago. I was one of the few that was smart enough to stay home. One, my parents didn't seem to want me out there, because I couldn't catch a break 20 years ago. I had debt. I couldn't find the proper jobs. I was spending more than I was making. Now I'm debt free. I own my car. I have a good job. A lot of people in Canada apparently they're about over 50% are only $200 away from going broke, or already are broke. So they can't go to work, so they don't use transportation. Um, they try to get. They're close enough. They're in big cities, so they're close enough to get what they need. Most people can still walk. Those that don't actually have the mobile scooters or whatever to get around. Not everybody can get them. I don't think my friend can afford one or something like that, or he can't. I don't know what it is, but it's like, and the reason why you don't see it because people aren't pushing back. Why are we paying taxes? Why are we paying taxes for that's supposed to accommodate these services when they're just taken away? You know, they have less teachers in schools, less this and that, less. It's like less, 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 less. Yet we're still paying the same amount of taxes. So when they're not having as many civil employees because of the all the partial lockdowns or whatever, and eventually it'll be back to full lockdowns, you're going to be paying taxes for services you don't even get. So what happens there? Do the politicians care? No, the politicians don't care. Politicians are getting their handouts. They're getting their votes because people are stupid enough to think they understand. Blame it on the COVID. Blame it on the COVID. Everything's the COVID's fault. It's kind of funny because the COVID came around and the economy was already weak. It was already pushing depression levels. Not depression levels so much, recession. Now it's actually depression levels. It's actually when 50% of people in Canada are $200 near broke, we're headed for that depression. And all it's going to take is one more big wave. And if you believe so-called, Kill Gates, he's saying, "Oh yeah, this next wave will be a lot worse." It's like this little smirk on his face, and just like, yeah, he just loves the idea how much money he's going to be getting off of these vaccines. I mean, come on. You think he gives a shit? You don't give a shit. Please tell me. Tell me how he's a humanitarian. He became a doctor. He became all of a sudden interested. He gave up all the. So what did he have? Is all of a sudden he became a great humanitarian. Hey, you want to believe that? Go ahead, believe the crap. That's the other thing about TV too. It's not just about fear. It's about pushing people up on pedestals that really don't deserve to be on pedestals. And it's not just media too. It's sports. It's a lot of shows. They push these celebrities up like they're like, oh, and the Rel family. Oh yeah, can't forget about them. Got to push them up. People care more about the royal family than they do their average human being. Like, what kind of? I guess those boats never came, so I don't know what the hell I was hearing. I thought I heard the bridge, but it could have been cars going over the bridge. Maybe that's what I heard. So that's about it. Yeah, they'll open the bridge and a bunch of boats will come out at once. I think they do. Maybe they do it at the top of the hour. Who knows? I thought they do it every half hour. But yeah, that's it for now. I'll check the comments. Yeah. No comments. Nobody here. That's okay. Anyways, I'll end this then. Have a good one, and we'll talk to you later. See ya.